title. They laughed when I said I'd be a billionaire. I made sure they found out from the tabloids. Hey Reddit, throw away for obvious billionaire-sized reasons. This story isn't about a quick, fiery explosion of revenge. It's about a slow, patient, geological-level shift. It spans nearly a decade, and it's about building an empire in secret, just to watch the old kingdom crumble when they finally learn your name. At 22, I was the mouse. Not just quiet, but practically invisible. I was the junior data analyst at Synapse Dynamics, a slick, high-energy tech startup where style often trumped substance. My boss, Liam, was the golden boy CEO, all perfect hair, charismatic pitches, and an uncanny ability to absorb other people's work and make it shine as his own. Then there was Chloe, my direct colleague and the office social. She was the one who could turn my dry data-heavy reports into a compelling narrative for clients. Together, they were an unstoppable duo. And I was the quiet engine room they rarely acknowledged. The pinnacle of this dynamic was Project Chimera. For 6 months, it was my entire life. While my colleagues were at happy hours, I was buried in datasets, code, and economic models. I had developed a predictive algorithm that didn't just track market trends. It anticipated seismic shifts by correlating seemingly unrelated data points, shipping lane traffic, academic research paper, keywords, energy consumption in developing nations. It was complex, elegant, and I knew with every fiber of my being that it was revolutionary. I requested a private meeting with just Liam and Chloe, my heart pounding a drum solo against my ribs. I laid it all out, my voice trembling but clear, walking them through the core architecture. Leo Leeson steepled his fingers and offered a thin, professional smile. It's a good start, Maya. The data's solid, but it lacks a soul, a narrative. Chloe, work with her to polish this up. We need a story, not just a spreadsheet. I felt a cold dread settle in my stomach. Polishing always meant handing my work to Chloe so she could repackage it. A week later, at the all-company meeting, the CEO took the stage. Team, Liam boomed, what I'm about to show you will change the trajectory of Synapse Dynamics forever. This is the future. The screen lit up. It was my deck, my models, my algorithm. They'd changed the color scheme from blue to orange and added slick animations, but the bones were undeniably mine. They'd even kept my working name, Chimera. The room erupted in applause. I sat there, a statue of ice, my face burning with a mixture of humiliation and pure, undiluted rage. I saw Chloe beaming, accepting shoulder pats as if she'd single-handedly coded the thing. After the meeting, I marched up to Liam, my hands clenched into fists at my sides. Liam, I think there's been a mistake. That was my presentation, my algorithm. He cut me off with a laugh, not a cruel one, but the kind you'd use on a child who claimed they could fly. Maya, come on. Ideas are a team effort here. Don't be so territorial. We all built this together. Chloe gave me a saccharine, pitying smile. He's right, Maya. We all contributed. My market analysis was key to framing it. I was territorial over the one thing I had ever truly owned, my mind, and they just annexed it. I quit the next day. As I was silently boxing up my few personal atoms of succulent, a framed photo of my family Liam stepped into my cubicle. He lowered his voice. Look, you're talented, Maya, but you need to learn to be a team player. A big idea is nothing without a team to execute it. You're too rigid. You'll never make it on your own. That was the spark. Not a flare of anger, but the quiet, smoldering ignition of a furnace that would burn for 8 years. He was wrong. An idea was everything. The right idea, nurtured in silence, could build an army all on its own. Phase 1, the foundation and shadow my revenge wasn't going to be a poison pill. It was going to be a shadow so vast it would eclipse their entire sun. My plan was to become a ghost they could never catch, a success so monumental it would make their greatest achievement look like a forgotten sticky note. I moved back into my parents' basement. Swallowing my pride, I took a boring, fully remote data processing job that paid the bills and, crucially, demanded very little mental energy. My real work began after 5 p.m. and on weekends. I lived on rice, beans, and a steady diet of fury. I remembered the one flaw in my original Chimera algorithm, a subtle data normalization issue that Liam and Chloe, with their surface-level understanding, would never spot. It was the reason their version would eventually plateau. I fixed it. I didn't just refine it, I transformed it. I taught it to learn, to adapt. It became less of a tool and more of a partner. I named this new, superior version Leviathan. Then, I began building my fortress. I spent months studying corporate law and international finance. I created a shell company in Delaware, then another in Luxembourg, then a trust in Singapore, a complex, layered web of legal entities, all controlled by me but pointing to a central, anonymous holding company I named Ethelgard Holdings, an Old English word meaning noble protector. I was protecting my legacy. With an initial seed fund of $5,000, my entire life savings, I set Leviathan loose. I started not with stocks, but with cryptocurrency and Forex, markets that never slept. The algorithm made thousands of microtrades a day, a hummingbird's heartbeat of financial activity, each one too small to notice, but in aggregate, incredibly powerful. I didn't buy a new car. I didn't move out. I reinvested every single cent. Phase 2, the silent empire Leviathan, was now sophisticated enough to move beyond Detroit. It began analyzing startup pitch decks, patent filings, and global supply chain data. It identified patterns no human could see. It flagged a small, obscure Canadian company working on solid-state batteries and a research paper from a university in Seoul about a new polymer. Cross-referencing these, it predicted a breakthrough 2 years before the market did. I invested $50,000 through one of my shells. When the breakthrough was announced, that investment became $2 million. It identified a bottleneck in the global shipping industry and pinpointed a small logistics software firm in Rotterdam as the only company positioned to solve it. I became their silent, anonymous angel investor. When the bottleneck hit the news cycles, the company's value increased 50-fold. This was my life. By day, I was Maya, the freelance data consultant, living a life of quiet frugality. I had a small circle of friends who knew nothing of effort. To them, I was just doing okay. Finally moved out of my parents' place into a modest one-bedroom apartment. I drove a used Honda Civic. My life was a masterpiece of anonymity. By night, I was the architect of a financial empire. Ethelgard's portfolio swelled. We moved into venture capital, private equity, and real estate, always through intermediaries, always anonymously. By the time I was 30, the girl in the basement was a ghost. Ethelgard Holdings was a whispered legend in financial circles, a firm with a Midas touch that no one could pin down. My personal net worth quietly crossed the $3 billion mark. I owned a significant, hidden stake in the very industry. Liam and Chloe thought they ruled. Phase 3. The unraveling eye kept a distant, passive watch on Synapse Dynamics. Their success with my stolen algorithm had been real, but as I'd predicted, without understanding the core architecture, they couldn't innovate. Their chimera became a dinosaur. They were surviving on reputation and Liam's charm, but the cracks were showing. They were now desperately seeking a massive Series C funding round to stave off collapse. The lead investor considering the round was Pegasus Ventures, a prestigious firm known for its due diligence. I smiled. Pegasus Ventures was a limited partner in one of Ethelgard's larger funds. My firm was, indirectly, one of their biggest backers. I didn't need to launch a hostile takeover. I didn't need to sabotage. I only needed to whisper. I placed a single, encrypted call to a senior managing partner at Pegasus, a man whose career I had indirectly bolstered numerous times. I used a voice modulator, not to sound sinister, but to sound genderless and detached. This is a representative of a concerned stakeholder, I began. Your due diligence on Synapse Dynamics should focus on the provenance of their core IP, Project Chimera. The original architect and sole developer was terminated years ago. The current leadership has no capacity for fundamental innovation. All verifiable data on the founder, Maya T, is available in the attached encrypted file. The source of this information is Ethelgard. I hung up. The attached file contained time-stamped code repositories, internal company emails I'd legally obtained through a data subject access request, and a timeline of my contributions. The Series C funding round was cancelled the next day. Pegasus gave no specific reason. Only the standard after thorough review. We do not believe this is the right fit for our portfolio at this time. In the world of high finance, that's a death sentence. The news hit tech. Synapse Dynamics' stock, which was already shaky, went into a freefall. The finale, the reveal the day after the collapse was announced, I executed my final public move. I reached out to Sarah Jansen, the tenacious Forbes journalist who had been trying to unmask the Ethelgard ghost for 2 years. I gave her everything. My real name, my story, my photo, and a mountain of documented proof linking the reclusive billionaire behind Ethelgard to the territorial, rigid analysts they'd fired and mocked. The article was a masterpiece. The headline blared, "From basement to billions, Tiaga y tech ghostess revenge against the boss who stole her idea." It went viral, of course. It wasn't just a business story. It was a biblical tale of come-up-it. It detailed my quiet 80-year grind, the sheer brilliance of the Leviathan algorithm, and the stark, humiliating contrast between my anonymous, world-altering success and their very public, derivative failure. It named Liam and Chloe explicitly, detailing their roles in the theft and their subsequent inability to build on it. The schadenfreude was exquisite. My inbox was flooded with requests, but one email stood out. It was from Liam. Subject new words, Maya, I saw the article. I don't, single quotes, I have no words. What can I even say? I was a fool. We all were. We underestimated you in a way that feels historic now. Congratulations on your incredible and clearly deserved success. I guess you showed us. Liam, I stared at the email for a long time. I felt no anger, no pity, no joy. I felt a profound and absolute sense of closure. I didn't reply. There was nothing to say. The revenge wasn't in his apology or his company's failure. It was in the absolute, undeniable, publicly recorded proof that the mouse had not only escaped the trap, but had built a skyscraper over the ruins of the lab. I didn't destroy their company. I made their entire careers, their very identities, look like an insignificant, slightly embarrassing prelude to my story. The best part, I'm still just Maya. I still wear jeans and hoodies. I still love my quiet life, my small circle of friends, and the peace of a solved problem. But now, I own the silence, and it's a silence that echoes around the world. It was never about the money. It was about the receipt. And, my God, was it itemized.